तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
Today we have with us Vishnu PV. He has been recommended from to AFSB Mysore. So we will ask him about his experience plus which attempt was this and which attempt was this?
Myself, Vishnu PV. So this was my second attempt.
Yeah,
My
okay,
first
second.
attempt was from 4 FSB Varanasi. I was screened out in that attempt, and this was my second attempt. And
Okay.
about myself, I'm from Thrissur district of Kerala, and presently I'm doing my first year in engineering, mechanical engineering, from a college called Vidya Academy of Science and Technology in Thrissur itself.
Okay, that's great. And it's at an early age you have cleared your this defense services examination. Congratulations for it. So how
Thank you.
did the motivation come from and how did it all start?
So my motivation was to become an Air Force pilot. So that's how I started preparing. But I could not clear my CPSs. Now I'm ready to go for any services. I got Navy and Army as my service, but I'm happy with that.
Okay, okay. But so right now in Air Force or AFSB, what did you get exactly?
Exactly, I got since I could not clear my CPSs, I was offered other branches, that is Navy and Army.
Okay, okay. Okay. So tell us about your experience, the 5 days, starting with the reporting day, documentation, your screening process, your GTO task interview. One by one, you can clear whatever.
Okay, ma'am. So my batch was MNDA/554, and the reporting date was on 21st of February. And about 147 reported and 2 were document out. Out of 145, 73 got screened in. So in screening, the first OIR test was really simple. Like there were 2 sets of 50 questions. Since I had practiced it before, it became really easy, and almost everybody, it was very easy. Then in the PPDT, the picture, it was blurred as usual, and there were 2 people who were engaging in a casual conversation. I felt it like it's in a mall. So I wrote on how 2 friends are meeting after a long time, and how one is having an issue in his professional life, and how the other person helped him. I included actions in that. I could not complete my story full, but I focused more on narration part. I narrated very confidently, and I think that really helped me in the screening. Also in the discussion, it became a fish market. So there were 2. It was the entire 15 members was divided into 7 and 8, and so in our part, I put point that it looked like a casual conversation. So maybe we can write down how 2 friends are meeting after a long time and having some issues and helping each other out. And the common story was narrated by a different person. And from my batch, I think exactly not sure, but 7-8 people got screened in. And first day itself had my psychology test after my screening in. And in psychology, in TAT, it was there was no any issues. Like I tried to make my story really simple, but included more actions in that. Then in the SRTs and VATs too, I just wrote whatever that came to my mind. I just wrote casually, like I did not count them, but I just wrote what I knew. SD I had already prepared, so I was well understood about what are my qualities about myself, my friends, family, and what I want to improve. So I just wrote it. And in the improvement part, one thing that I did good was I actually add what I want to improve. That is my physical fitness, my participation in sports. So I actually wrote what I'm doing to improve in that, and what I want to do in future as well after joining academy or within the college itself. Then next day, I had my interview. So luckily, my interview was first in the entire batch. So I had no tensions. I just went casually. And the interviewing officer was really good. He was really polite, very, very friendly. So I had a very good experience with him. So most questions he asked was personal. First, he asked about my academics, my marks in 10th, 11th, and 12th. So in 11th, I had less marks. So he asked me the reason. So I told him that, sir, it was because I did not study that much. So he asked what was my focus on. So I said, sir, I did not focus on anything, but I was a mistake from my part. I did not study that. So he said, okay, then, but in 12th and 10th, I had good marks. So he said, fine. Then he asked about my family, about how I help my family, what reason does your father scold you for, mother scold you for. Then he asked about my friends, entire friend circle. So that I mentioned, I'm a person who likes having a small circle of very good friends. So he asked me why. So I told him that I'm a kind of person, but the friends that I have are really good friends, and they really support them, and they support me as well. Then he asked their names and what are their qualities. Then he asked about my why I want to join. Since I'm from a civilian background, he asked me what motivated you. So I told him that it's my flying was my passion, and I wanted to learn more about it. I want to become a pilot. So on that, he asked me a lot of questions regarding flying. What are the principles of flight? He asked me a little bit deep into that. What is Bernoulli's principle? Then he asked about different aircrafts of Indian Air Force. In that, he asked what's the difference between Sukhoi and Tejas. So first, I told him LCA was an indigenous aircraft, Sukhoi was a Russian, and we took license and HAL manufactured it. And he was not satisfied with that. He asked me tell another difference. Then I told about the engines. One is Russian and another is General Electric engine. Then he asked, no, apart from that, is there any? So I remember reading an article. So I told him that LCAs are designed to be stationed at very front airfields, while Sukhois, because of it's really cheap and very easy to operate from harsh conditions. I remember reading in that article, so I told him that. So he said, okay, fine. Then he asked about my, since I was not good in sports, he asked me why, what's the reason? So I told him that at that time I did not put much effort in that. Especially I played football for some time. So he asked me whether I was part of the team. I told him yes, I was part of the team, but I was just a substitute. And he asked me why did not I put effort. So I told him that like at that time I was not really focused on sports. My interest was in academics. Then I told him now I'm working on my physical fitness by doing running, strength building exercises and everything because I want to join the forces. Then he said okay. Then he asked about my previous attempt. How was my previous attempt? What happened in why you got screened out? Then he asked about how was the stay? Little bit about the stay. What food you had in the morning and how was it yesterday? So I told him honestly it was a little bit tiring because of the all process, but at after night we talked to each other and I had a great fun at night. Then in the end, I had a really good experience. So he asked me, like, Vishnu, do you know how much time we have been talking with each other? So I was unaware about that. So I told him, no, sir. Then he told me, we have been talking for 40 minutes and it was a great experience. And I came to know a lot about you, your background, your academics and everything. And you are really enthusiastic. You seem really enthusiastic and very keen to join the forces and hope to see you soon in uniform. I was very happy after that. Then he asked me, is there anything that you want to ask? So I asked him, sir, are you a pilot? So he said, yes. So I asked him which aircraft. So he said, transports. So I said, thank you, sir. And I left. I was really satisfied with my interview. It was amazing conversation. And my entire group, everybody's interview, they had some issues, but mine went really good. So I felt happy after that. So when this happened, actually we all decided that we will give more opportunity in GTO for those whose interviews did not go that much well. So that's why our group was really good. We were really cooperative, helped each other out. And that was really evident in the GTO itself. So next day we had the GTO. So in GTO, first we had already decided that we will not make a fish market situation. Instead, give everybody opportunity to speak, and exactly that happened. So in first two GDs, one was on agriculture productivity, how to improve them. Second one was on e-vehicles, how to make them more popular. So in both of them, everybody spoke really well, and even GTO praised us for our discussion. He said exactly, gentlemen, this is how a discussion must be. Everybody, we did not create a fish market. Everybody spoke very well. Then in GP too, in GP, what happened was that uh, everybody gave their individual solutions first, give their own idea of problems, and everybody had some 15 seconds, 30 seconds to speak on that. Then after that, we discussed together and arrived at a common conclusion. So in that, my focus was on writing the plan book. So Nehru sir actually suggested a plan in his book. I made some improvements in that to suit my needs. Like first, I will write the location of where the group is, then about the timings, about the resources that I have with me, the members, if there is any vehicle, then about the groups I'm trying to split into. Then in column wise, I write wrote problems, resources, solution, distance, time. In the end, I wrote the time by which all will meet back at which place, and by which time they will return to the place that is mentioned in the plan. So I made it really crisp and detailed, and I think this helped me a lot in the GPA part. And next was our ground task, that is PGT, HGT, FGT, everything. So in PGT, there was guys who took coaching and academies where they were really familiar with the obstacles. So they had really good ideas with them. So initially, for me, the idea was not coming up. So actually, I really cooperated with them by holding whatever and by asking like whatever help they suggested or they wanted, I helped them. Slowly, I started to get ideas, and this time they were also ready to try my idea out and see if it works. So that really helped me. Slowly, I started to get an idea. Then I think in the progressive group labs itself, I put some ideas. In FGT, I think it was at the end. In the FGT, I could not put any ideas, but I initiated in some stages. We had to climb onto something, so I initiated that I will climb onto that, and I did that. So it was, I think I was really happy after my performance in FGT. And then in the lecturate, my topic was on lifestyle diseases. So that moment I slightly panicked and I actually forgot to mention what are lifestyle diseases. I straight away went into the how to overcome that. I suggested having a good exercise routine, good diet plan, and working on mental fitness by avoiding stress, too much stress, being in the meditation. But I spoke for a little time, but I made sure that my delivery was good. Delivery of speech was good. And in the lecture itself, there was many people, almost all people performed really well. The topic that they got, everybody got was they were familiar with. So lecture it also went fine for everybody. Then in the individual obstacle, that was the part which I had an issue. So I could only complete 3 obstacles. First one was Burma Bridge. Other was there was a 1 mark jump, a small jump. Then screen jump also. So I could only do 3. And what happened in the fourth obstacle was it was called balancing pole. So there was 2 poles and place to work on it. So I felt from it multiple times. So I lost my time in that. So, but I tried for some time and but I could not complete it. So that's why I lost my time in that. So my individual obstacles did not go good. Apart from that, all the GTO went fine. I was really satisfied with my performance in GTO. Then on the 4th day, we were free. We prepared ourselves for the conference. The questions that we missed during interview, we just revised them. And on the conference day, it lasted less than 1 minute for me. So first he asked about stay. How was the stay? How was the food? How was the group? Then he asked me how I prepared. It was the president itself. So I told him, sir, I worked on 3 aspects. First thing was on my physical fitness. I started running and doing strength building exercises. Then I worked on my general awareness. That is by reading books, reading newspapers, also being in discussion with my best friends about the current affairs. Then I told him that after I joined college, I started taking responsibilities. I became a class representative. So this is third way how I grew my personality. And he said, okay, then what did you learn at 5 days? So I told him, sir, I learned to play table tennis. I haven't played that in life. So here, my friends taught me to play that. Then conference was completed, and from my batch, 11 got recommended, and I was very happy when my number was announced. And next day, that day itself, we had to fill some documents. We had to fill about ourselves, the different details in multiple forms. Next day, we had our CPS. So that day itself, it was we had to document was signed by 2 officers. So they were really friendly, and I had good conversation with them as well. They asked me why you want to join, and what are the reactions of your parents. And they give me some tips on CPSS, that asked me to get a good sleep, because I'm having my CPSS next day. So take enough rest this night. So I was really happy after having a conversation with these two officers. Next day in CPSS, there was two tests. First thing was testing the cognitive ability. That is a computer-based test, and everybody cleared that. Out of 11, 10 appeared for CPSS, 10 people cleared that. Next day we had the psychomotor test. The same day itself, next stage was psychomotor. So psychomotor, we were put in a simulator. We were given a joystick, rudder pedals. Then 8 to 10 games were there. But in that, I could not perform my best, and I felt like I had to be prepared more. And I could not clear my CPSS. So I was declared not fit for flying branches. And out of 10, 5 got fit for flying, and other 5, most of them chose army, and I chose navy, and the one chose ground duty. So that's how my entire 6 days went. It was a wonderful experience, because in my group itself, I had people from all part of the country, from north itself, east itself, from Bangalore itself, that's Karnataka itself. So I felt I got to know about their own life, and we had phones were not allowed. So most of the time we spent talking. We talked about numerous things. We did some discussions on. At the same time, the Russia-Ukraine tensions were going on. We discussed on that. So it was entirely amazing experience. The entire group, SSB itself was a really good experience.
Thank you. Thank you. That was great. And you pointed out many things, learning from new people, getting to know new people. That is very required. That
Hmm.
is important when we go to SSBs.
Yes,
We need to gel with people.
yes.
Tell us, how did you develop so much knowledge base that even interview officer had pointed out. You told the exact differences between Tejas and Sukhoi. Maybe people are not able to answer such technical details or some in detail answers to such questions. Tell us, how should students increase their knowledge base when it comes to defense services?
Okay, so everybody has their own areas of interest. So in my case, it was planes. So I casually read about them, wherever article I found, or YouTube videos. I subscribe to some YouTube channels were fighter pilots, not from this country but from another country, US. So in that way, I managed to learn more from them. Then I have some friends who are interested in tanks. So find your own interest and casually read about them. In that way, our uh, knowledge will be increased.
Thank you. And how did you tackle the fish market thing that you said? In our group, there was no fish market. So how did you manage this?
In the
Uh,
screening process, ma'am,
Both screening as well as in GDs.
in
GDs, there
GD
was.
there was no fish market. In GD there
Uh,
was no fish market.
yes, yes. So how do you handle the group and make sure that it's a fruitful GD, points to come up, content that we talk, that is more important. So how do you encourage and motivate your group members to not to create fish markets at that time during
Uh,
the
at that
process?
time, one thing was we must listen to others' point. So when anybody is speaking, we must not interrupt. So if they feel that we are ready to listen to them, they will be also agree to do the same.
Hmm.
So that's what I had. I did not interrupt. Whenever I kept point, I talked about that point. But before or after that, I just kept silent. I just listened to them, noted them whenever required, and also I actually supported others' point. So in the e-vehicles part, a person suggested a very good point. That is, people have buy electric cars, they're ready to buy, but people don't have charging stations. So I said that this was the most important point. That's why we must invest in the infrastructure part. So if we can support others' point, also if we can listen to others patiently, then the group discussions will go fine.
One more thing that students have in their mind, not just our students, other students as well, who may wish to join us or who do inquire and do call us. What about half group task, full group task, PGT? How do those ideas strike in mind? There is no in practical world there is no such practice sessions that we can have.
Mhm.
let's say ground where some structures are there. So how do you naturally develop so that we perform these tasks in the SSBs?
Okay, so initially, since we don't have much practical exposure, we will have some issue in finding ideas. So my suggestion is at that time, cooperate with the group. There are people who have good ideas, cooperate with them. So from them you will learn. Even if you can perform well in, if you can't perform well in PGD, that's the first task. You will get many ideas from them. You will learn from them. So we can implement these in upcoming tasks. So that's what I did. I had no opportunity to particularly prepare for ground tasks. So I had this notion that I will support my group. Whatever way, I will support my group. I want my group to go well. So I will support my group. From that, I will cooperate with all the team members. From that, I will try to learn whatever is possible.
Okay, that's an important quality. As I said before, whenever you are in your barracks, try to learn something. Whenever you're outside with your friends, try to get something new from them. Same applies in the GTO task as well. In case you are facing issues, there can be some people who can help you out and then help them out. The completion of the task is more important in the ground task.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, please tell us. Your interview was very good, in my opinion. Can you recollect some of the aspects which can be helpful for others? That this is more important in the interview, and how to be naturally out and open. People ask whether to be frank or not. Here, you won the one over the GTO without being frank. You are very decent enough. So how do you handle all this, the interview part?
In interview, I think the best way is to be honest with them. Be honest, be open. And before interview, what I did was that I just practice my PIK form. That's what I have to write. So I had an idea about that. So parallelly, I just wrote about myself. For example, first I started with my name. This was suggested by my friend. So I first wrote what's meaning of my name. Then about my place, what are the specialty of my place that I come from. Then about my parents, what are the good qualities about the work they have done, what professions they were in, about their education. Then about my sister, what is her profession, what did she learn, like her education background. Then about my extracurricular activities, which I was part of. Little bit details about that. Then about my previous attempt, that why I got screened out. Then about so I just had an idea. I just wrote it. I did not by heart anything, but I just kept on thinking about by comparing the PRK form. I just kept on thinking. In that way, I just wrote a PDF. So I just casually read through it before my interview, before going for SSB. So this really helped for me. This helped me to organize my about myself, because most questions were personal. So if you can't know about yourself, then I think this will become a little bit tough. Interview will become a little bit tough. So for that, just make it in an organized way. Don't by heart it, but still, just have an idea about yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. Uh, there is actually we covered everything. Fine. Tell us about the psychology part. How did you practice anything, or did you how did you come out with those reactions? As you said, you decently completed within time. So how do you frame the time so that it helps others who are going for the SSBs and all?
Okay, so during psychology test, one thing is that we must try to stay calm. We will be really in a pressure situation at that time, but we must actually make ourselves calm during that time. Then only we can perform well in that. So that's first aspect that I focus on, being calm. Then in the stories, I try to make simple stories, very simple stories that I can add more detail upon. For example, there was story on two children who were sitting on a tree branch. So I just wrote, they were looking a little bit scared. One of them was looking a little bit scared. So I wrote, one having fear of height. So he was not able to enjoy climbing. So how the other guy helped him to overcome his fear of height, and both of them started enjoying climbing. So I put simple themes packed with actions. Then in the batch and SRTs, I actually it's better to do whatever that comes to mind. Don't really focus on giving perfect ones, but just whatever that comes to your mind, just give it. So that's what I focus on my interview. Sorry, my psychologist.
Thank you so much. See, decent and good themes backed with actions. What he said was backed with actions. Do not write come across students asking or portraying emotions, too many emotions in the story. That is not needed. A decent theme backed with action would be good enough.
Yes.
Okay, now I'll give this to sir.
Yeah, good morning. Vishnu, congratulations. Vishnu, I got some very basic questions which I have not been asking probably students in the recent times. Uh, how did you think of joining No Frills Academy? What were the motivation to do that, and why not any other place and only No Frills Academy?
Sir, it's more long term. So I wanted to work on a personality. So if we can take capsule course, I think that will be just for SSB. But in this, what I found good was that it was on focusing on personality. And my interviewing officer asked me the same question. I told him that like it's 99% is from my part, working on my personality. But 1%, sir, you gave me many inputs to me regarding how I should work on my physical fitness, general awareness. So I just did that.
And how did your group members help you improve overall?
Okay, so no, overall, it was really supportive, very cooperative. As I told, in the ground task, initially ideas were not coming.
No, Vishnu, I will check. I am not talking about the fellow candidates you had in the SSB. I'm talking about your group members in No Frills Academy group.
Okay, so
Yes,
I
yes,
have
yes.
some really good friends at NFA. So we kept on joining regularly. Before that, we were in group discussions on the regular NFA sessions. For that, I got the confidence to speak up. So during my initial interaction, I remember telling you that I had less exposure in being in discussion. But in the NFA groups, I got an opportunity to speak up. Even though it was bad, I still got the confidence. Like initially, it was a little bit bad, it was not up to the mark, but I still got the confidence to speak up. I think this is what group helped me.
Okay, very fine. And my advice to you would be your performance in the individual obstacles were bad, and you got to improve your physical fitness hell of a lot. In
Yes, sir.
training, it is going to be a very important issue.
Yes, sir.
So please keep training. When would you be joining the academy?
First, my merit list has to come. So after that, in July, my course will be starting.
July, your course will start. So time is there. Make yourself a good athlete. That should be the thing. Academic things and all will get taken care of in the academy. Fine. Physically, you have to go up at least, I would say, 2-3 gears up. Fine.
Okay.
That is what is required. And for the benefit of others, you see, Vishnu just did 3 obstacles, but you notice the kind of attitude he had when he fell from that confidence walk. He kept trying again and again. He was not scared, and his desire was there to improve. And this is something which would have got noticed and which would have got the approval of the GTO. And there were no doubts that anybody had, so there was no discussion or any counter questioning in the conference. He was straight away selected. So that's a good thing. So these are good. Your attitude is absolutely good. Your physical fitness is not. You have to gear up on that, Vishnu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that will gear you up for life in the defense forces. And I'm sure you'll do well for yourself. You have done us proud. You have done your family proud. Continue doing that. Now, good luck.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.